I say was because he stopped practicing when I was 9. And my dad was an administrator, and I say was because he died when I was 19. And as you can see by their occupations, they had nothing to do with literature. And they were not big readers, in fact, but for some reason they wanted their kids to be good readers. So when I was 9, my family had the luck of moving from Tampico, I'm actually from Tampico to Mexico City. And my dad took us to the book fair in Palacio de Minería. I don't know if any of you have been, and it's a big fair. And that's where I bought the first book that I chose, and it was called Mermelada de Anchoas. And it was a funny little book that, like, for me at 9 years old, like Mexico City, it allowed the opportunity of very unlikely things to come together, like jam and anchovies, right? So that really blew my mind, and I think that's when I became conscious, or when I started like looking at the world, right? So within the year we moved to Matamoros, and I did live in Matamoros for a long time, and now my parents thought that we should learn English, right? My brother and I went to school in Brownsville, Texas, for 9 years, and I didn't know English then, and I guess then I was introduced to a new variable, which was writing, and this was a new form of expression, and now it could be my own, right? So in the beginning I didn't fit in, and it had something to do with the language, and but it didn't really matter to me because I started writing my own parallel worlds, and I started reading about the lives of like pre-adolescent girls that lived in the far, far away lands of Connecticut, and they were babysitters, and so I guess other possible lives got me through the 4th grade. And I guess I can say that I grew up with the characters I read or wrote as much as I grew up with my childhood friends or with my brother even. And after some time passed, and when I went to university, and well, even before and after, I started traveling a lot. And like, I sort of, my relationship with books while I traveled, I sort of see it like a soundtrack in a movie, where the books outlined my journeys. And every friend I remember, I remember by the books they recommended, and every city I remember by their libraries and their bookstores, and the books I looked for found there. And on one such journey, a German friend recommended Hermann Hesse, and Hermann Hesse, I guess, my friend actually then was trying to understand his past, his German past, which is a hard past. But Hermann Hesse, for me, he helped me understand my present, actually. And he became my companion, and he got me through the death of my dad then, and also a reunion with my mother. Right? I didn't have a close relationship then with her, but it sort of brought us together. And today, like now, as I've grown older and as I've become more settled, I sort of have a newfound interest of going through the books I was supposed to read when I was in high school and never read. So Jane Austen came into my life, and she's taught me a lot, and she's taught me about everyday life and about this letting the shades of gray be, right? Like, it's nothing's black and white with her, and she's taught me that, and I really thank her, I guess, throughout her books and even the movies that have been made of her, and people have written a lot about her. And that brings me to today. And today I get home after a day of fussiness and untidiness, and I read a line by, for example, Barico, who's one of the great authors for me, and and he makes me feel human again. I become human after a day of weirdness at work and things that never go the way I want or whatever. I read him and I become human again, and I want and I feel that I love again. So I started by saying that literature had saved me, but I guess what I meant to say was that literature saves me every day.